Hello there, welcome back to my Vision News, another video for you. New stories from the Amhara and Tigray regions. Firstly, some Fano fighters have been killed in drone strikes. It is being confirmed by several people. We contacted them. Information obviously coming a little late, but some precise strikes have been conducted on Fano positions, it seems, in the Amhara region. Secondly, viewers, on Thursday, Tigray opposition parties are scheduled to protest. TPLF convened a meeting yesterday, and after that, we saw that other protests were announced by some diaspora groups of Tigrayans. Can we say that TPLF is trying to divert attention from Thursday's protests? We'll have a detailed look at other protests announced a few hours ago. Firstly, viewers, drone strikes on Fano positions in the Amhara region. Casualties being confirmed, though no material evidence. People say Sajid Jula denies the use of drones. You say drone strikes are being conducted. Well, Jula denies lots of things, but things are happening. Drones have been in operation for reconnaissance purposes for weeks, and drone strikes in Gojam are being confirmed. In Fano too, some people, Fano fighters died. International media also called that strike a drone strike. I think the local government in Fano also talked about a strike there. But Jula denies. Now, another strike, more than one strikes, and the strikes were precise. Fano fighters killed there reportedly. The strikes were conducted in East and West Gurjam. Last night, I reported about 2 drone strikes in areas which are between East and West Gurjam, close to Tigray. There has been heavy fighting between Fano and military close to Tigray, and on this front, drone strikes were conducted yesterday and day before yesterday. Now, in these strikes, deaths of Fano fighters are being confirmed. People who we can trust are confirming that several Fano fighters have been killed. How many? Difficult to say. I would say that around a dozen Fano fighters, even more than that, have been killed in these precision strikes on Fano positions. People say, Sajid, why would Ethiopian Air Force conduct drone strikes on Fano fighters? They are mostly armed with small arms, AK-47. It would be a wastage of munition. I don't agree, because military Air Force would like to terrorize Fano fighters. Military Air Force would like to restrict the movement, free movement of Fano fighters. That is why drone strikes will be conducted, are being conducted. Generally, drone strikes are conducted against targets which are not human, or which are high profile human targets, like some commanders. So, targets could be tanks, artillery pieces, moving vehicles, or commanders, high profile people. Here, Fano fighters in most cases don't have heavy weapons. But there are high profile Fano commanders who will be targeted. and large gathering of Fano fighters could also be targeted. So, drone strikes make sense for me in the Amhara region. Let's see. Fano has no defense against these drone strikes. They have only Zu-23-2. They have no man pads. So they can only defend themselves by not moving in public, not moving in open. That is what they can do. If they start restricting their movement in the open, it means that they lose their mobility. That is what Ethiopian military, Ethiopian Air Force want, I think. Secondly was Tigray, where on Thursday a key protest is expected. 4 opposition parties have joined hands for this protest. TPLF held a meeting yesterday. What happened there then? Well, firstly, Salsevojene, Betona, Tigray Independence Party and Tigray Arena Party are going to protest on Thursday. The 3 parties announced to protest, then Tigray Arena joined around 48 hours ago. So the 4 parties are protesting against rise in crime rate, against the problems faced by IDPs in Tigray, lack of food aid, several issues, future status of Raya Volkai, several issues will be raised by these opposition parties in Thursday's demonstration. Mekelle government refused to provide security to these parties. Parties refused to cancel Thursday's demonstration. They are pressing ahead with this protest. That is why a key meeting was held in Tigray on Monday. And after that, a diaspora organization announced protests. Interesting timing of the protests announced by this diaspora organization. The name of the organization is SJT, Security and Justice for Tigrayans. I think it's a diaspora organization of Tigrayans. SJT says that in September, UN Human Rights Council is going to meet. And at the meeting, the mandate of UN Inquiry Commission could be terminated. UN Human Rights Council formed an inquiry commission more than a year ago to investigate human rights abuses committed during Tigray war, committed in Tigray, Amhara, Far regions. Though the commission the commission was not allowed access to visit areas in Tigray, Amhara, Far, where human rights abuses were committed. Ethiopian government from day one opposed the commission. It did not cooperate with the commission. The commission has been largely dysfunctional, I would say, though it did some remote reporting. Tigray has been calling for accountability, saying that human rights abuses were committed by Eritrean military and maybe ENDF soldiers too, and therefore the victims should get justice. Now, this diaspora organization has announced that from Wednesday, protests will be held against likely termination of UN Inquiry Commission on Ethiopia. It means that from Wednesday, this diaspora organization will start protests. On Wednesday and Thursday in Geneva, New York and Washington, protests will be organized. And in Tigray too. All protests will be held between the 13th of September and 20th of September after these protests in Geneva, Switzerland and Washington. So while opposition parties will be protesting on Thursday in Tigray, SJT and other diaspora organizations will be protesting in New York, Washington, and Geneva on Thursday and Wednesday. I think that the purpose of announcing these new protests is diverting of attention from the protests by opposition parties. Maybe TPLF is on board with SJT. SJT's announcement came after TPLF's meeting in Tigray yesterday. That is what we have learned. It means that TPLF is not in a position to ban Thursday's protest. It only wants to divide diaspora. It does not want diaspora to support Thursday's demonstration. It wants diaspora organization to protest against the likely termination of the UN Inquiry Commission. It's a very interesting move, by the way, taken by the TPLF, it seems. Let's see what happens on Thursday. Will diaspora organizations join Thursday's protests? They can remotely join to show solidarity with opposition parties of Tigray. By the way, we don't support any opposition party. We don't support TPLF either. But I think there should be a robust, strong opposition in Tigray. That is how Tigray can turn into a democratic region. Otherwise, we know that at federal level, there is no democracy basically. Election was held, boycotted by opposition parties. Opposition parties not allowed to work freely. So, no genuine democracy in Ethiopia. Tigray is heading towards the same plight, it seems. If opposition's activities are curbed, it means that there will be just TPLF. So, that is why diaspora should support Thursday's demonstration. Diaspora can support TPLF as well. Both sides can be supported, but both sides should be allowed to carry out political activities freely. That is what should happen, and then let the people of Tigray decide who should rule the region. Let's see what happens on Thursday. TPLF is worried about Thursday's protest by opposition parties, it seems. Thank you for watching.